Paul Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. We have another great interview coming up for you shortly. But before we begin, we want to remind you that we have that subscribe button down there and the bell. Just click both of those and you'll always be notified of any new episodes coming your way. And we love for you to leave a comment on the comment section if you'd like. And if you're on Facebook, go to facebook.com/Paul Mash TV. And you can follow us there and send us an inbox, even comment on the things you see there. We'd love to hear from you there. We'd love to hear from you in email as well. PaulMashTV, all one word, at gmail.com. And if you're a band or a solo artist that wants to be on a show, you can send us an email. Or if you're just a fan, just send us an email and we'll get back to you. And all this will be recapped at the closing credits at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. From Ontario, Canada, we have John Dorsch today. He's really an awesome singer, and I think you're going to agree. And we'll get to that in 1 second, but first here's a word from Galtar, the guitar made specifically for a woman. So don't go away, we'll be right back, right after this.
Ready in 5.
Darling, when nothing else seems to match up. Galtar, the musical apparel that fits any outfit. Galtar, bringing heaven to earth, one gal at a time. GaltarHeaven.com.
Okay, we're back, and with us from Toronto, Canada, we have with us John Dorsch today. Thanks for joining us, John.
Pleased to be here, Paul. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. We're glad to have you here. How did you begin, as far as that goes, being an artist? I mean, have you always wanted to be an artist? Maybe it came much later in life. Tell us in your own words, though.
Well, I think that started very, very young. So I grew up in a musical household. I remember my parents, my mother would be, singing along with the Sound of Music and whatever, musical was kind of going on, like Fiddler on the Roof or Sound of Music or any of those, Pirates of Penzance, all of the musicals. And my father liked Pavarotti and Bach and all of that. And Phantom of the Opera. I remember hearing all that kind of music going on in the house all the time. So at one point when I was about 8, they bought me an accordion and wanted me to play polkas and do things like that. So that lasted about 4 years. And finally, I begged to continue on with the trumpet and shift to guitar at about 12 years old. I was seeing all the, great music of, the Monkees and the Beatles. And, I was just starting to come into 1970 where the big rock bands were just starting to take root. And I was born in 63. So the early 70s, when Led Zeppelin was at their peak in 74, I was 11, right? So all that great music was like, wow. So, so I saw that picture of Jimmy Page, holding the violin bow and I go, wow, I got to do some of that. So, but all I have is an acoustic guitar, took a few lessons, and I had a dear uncle that took me to see his brother's touring rock band from Kingston. They were a very good band. And his brother was the drummer. So they invited me to a rehearsal. And I was like probably 12 years old. And I just had an acoustic guitar. Well, they played the great songs like Toto and Aerosmith and Boston and, were unbelievable. I was so riveted. And they got me up to put a real Les Paul in my hand and got to sort of plunk along with the famous tune Taking Care of Business was about all I could get together on the guitar at that time. So, but I've just been hooked ever since on music. So there's always been a large aspect of music. So it kind of started in the rock realm and playing high school dances and probably 100 bands over the years. And now we're kind of delved like way deep into my own stuff now. And it's kind of come full circle around again. So that's where we're.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a great story. And you had mentioned like the Beatles and the Monkees and Led Zeppelin, bands like that. Those are real legends, I guess you could say. And were there any others that come to mind as far as the legends or the people that inspired you?
There was like I became like this guitar nut for a while that, I had to learn everything, all the guitar solos, had to learn them all. So learned Stairway to Heaven before they had tablature. Like I was slowing the albums down and detuning my guitar and trying to match the tuning up so I could learn those things, because none of the rock music was ever written down. It was just, you could get strumming tunes and things like that, but there was nobody around here to teach. So I learned it all by ear for quite a long time, and did pretty well at that. So I have a really good ear for music now. They have tablature and a lot of other, tutorials are all over YouTube. If you want to learn any song now, you can have somebody help you with that. But I was the one that was kind of doing that myself. But any of the guitar innovators, like I remember in 1978, I'd be about 14 and was in my first electric band, and the bass player called up and goes, and it was like a school night, right? I wasn't allowed to stay out. I'm like in grade 8, right? So it's like, okay, it's a school night, and I begged my mom to take me over to his place because this new album by Van Halen had just, his brother bought it and said, you have to hear this. You've never heard anything like it in your life. This is like the unbelievable album. Never heard it. We don't even know what the sounds are on it. So we went over, and when we went there, we had, it's one of the classic listening parties. Everybody sat on the floor, and then, the needle drops onto the record, LP, right? And then you hear that air raid siren come in when they start with Running with the Devil. And then there's, You Really Got Me. Well, you listen to the whole album, and it's like, wow, that was unbelievable. I never heard anybody play guitar like that. I was so inspired. So had to learn Eruption note for note. That took me probably half my life to figure that out. But anyway, play it well. But, and then there's, all the great stuff from Jimmy Page. And then, from him, I got exposed into the acoustic. The blend of great electric guitar and the acoustic really kind of started to work at me there for a while. And then, you hear a song like, I was walking into a restaurant, and there was a young couple dressed up like a pirate and his bride sitting there playing a beautiful Ovation guitar, and they were singing in beautiful harmony the song Dust in the Wind. And I was like blown away. I go, wow, I have to learn how to do that finger picking thing. Like that's what Jimmy Page is doing, right? And got into all of that. And then, a little ways later, you got far deeper into it, and then got exposed to Tommy Emmanuel. Tommy Emmanuel, the most intense finger stylist on the planet, and ended up doing 2 guitar camps with him. So my mind got expanded quite a bit with these different guitar virtuosos and things you aspire to and soak up little bits of along the way. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're kind of got a lot of influences and just letting them just kind of filter out into my own music.
Yeah, those were some great influences, and I can definitely tell that in your sound. Well, tell everybody, because in a few minutes we're going to be watching that music video, and people might want to know how to download your music or follow you on social media, and also if you have a website, you can get that. Tell them where they can go there as well. But anyway, go ahead and tell us.
Yes, my main website is www.johndorschmusic.com, all lowercase, johndorschmusic.com. That'll take you to my website. There's lots of photos, my press release package, links to samples of all my original music, current events, lots of interviews, links to, Zoom interviews and things will be there. Current, performing schedule sort of thing is on there. And there's also links to the YouTube channel. So YouTube channel is John Dorsch Music at 2112 is basically, you'll find me on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of my original music videos there, and some cover tunes and some funny videos, and a tribute to Eddie Van Halen. When he passed, I did an entourage of his stuff and pulled the electric guitar out and reminisced a little bit. And then there was another influence of mine. He's not a guitar player, but Neil Peart, the unbelievable drummer of Rush, right? So he was an unbelievable influence on me. He was the drummer I always wanted to play with. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, when he passed away, I did an entourage of Rush tunes in tribute as well. So there's a bunch of things up there that hopefully some people will enjoy. Otherwise, on Spotify, Deezer, and Apple Music, you'll find under my artist name, John Dorsch, JohnDorsch is the correct spelling. Many people spell it wrong, but it's just Dorsch. And you'll find it on there or under the title Elevation, which is the title of my debut album. So that's where you'll get it all.
Okay, well, you heard it with the from the man himself. Go to those streaming sites and that website, and also YouTube, so forth, and I'm sure he'll love you for that. And we were just talking about the music video. Let me see here. It's called "Save Just One More Life." Is there a story behind that song? It might be self-explanatory, but tell us in your own words.
There is a story. So, at one point when I was on the road, when I was about probably 18 years old, touring across Ontario, I was in university for a year in engineering, and I had this huge calling to play music. So I left university after the first year and really upset my parents. But anyway, they understood that I had to do this, and went across, Ontario and played in every dive bar that I could possibly play in, and did all that. And then we rolled along, and about a year later, all that kind of fell apart on the road because of the way the music industry had gone. And my father suggested, why don't you become a police officer? You can play music, on the side and keep it going, and at least it'll be something steady you can do, is what he sort of planted the seed. So at the age of 25, I became a police officer near Toronto and finished my career out with 31 years service. So I ended up being the guitar player for the Durham Regional Police Cruisers Band. We did all the ceremonial rock events and things like that. That wasn't heard of when I started policing, but we rounded out my career in the city of Ottawa, and still maintained playing in 2 to 3 bands on the side all the time. And there's no life like it, but I'm happily retired from that. But in the last few years, the profession's become very, very difficult, as it is in the military. And there's a lot of first responders and a lot of difficulty, especially ones come back from tours in Afghanistan. Particularly in our own service, there was several members took their own life. And it's a very sad thing. We every day, all the first responders, go out and try to save lives, but maybe we could save one of our own. You know what I mean? Was kind of the theme behind this song. So it's a song of hope to those that struggle with mental illness to survive at different times, So that's really what the song came from.
Oh, okay. Well, it is a great song, and I know everyone out there is going to agree, and we'll get to that in just a second. But for now, John, I think that's all we need, and we want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Come back anytime you want to plug something new. Maybe we'll have you on, and you can plug that for us.
We'll definitely have something new coming down the road, maybe about 6 months. So.
Oh, okay. All right, we're here to Save Just One More Life by John Dorsch, and it begins right.
Justify the means. What is it all for? Why are we here? Is there one more life we can save? Don't be naive. How can we keep you from the grave? We're in separate places, sad excuses for phony faces, wasting time. Life is sublime. There's still hope for me in the path I see. Course unknown. The key is love and empathy. Reach for one another. happy. Spread your love of humanity. Set each other free. Can we say